to the Podcast Palace on Park Street right here. We're going to go right to the left, and you'll see the lovely Tony Gaud right there in our studio. Mr. Paris.
Hello. What's up?
Nice.
I did the Eminem Flew Me to Detroit for the 8 Mile DVD release party battle. So that was cool. I won the Source magazine, which was like the biggest hip hop magazine at the time.
Now, broadcasting live from the Podcast Palace on Park Street in beautiful and dangerous Clearwater, Florida. It's the Comedians Uncorked podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Tony Gaud and Pat Largo.
Hey, welcome to the Comedians Uncorked podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We are your humble host, Tony Gaud, right here. My name is Pat Largo, and thanks again for being a part of the Comedians Uncorked podcast on whatever platform you are listening to. Catch us at YouTube at Comedians Uncorked. And we couldn't do this without our in-studio sponsor, Miss Julie Drolshagen of Century 21 for all of your real estate needs here in Clearwater, Florida, 727-902-9233, or get her at floridabeachbusiness.com.
floridabeachbusiness.com.
Love that. And we have another special guest here for another episode of our Comedians Uncorked podcast, Tony Gaud.
Yes, we do. We have a great guest in studio today. This guy's been kicking it around for a few years now, and he's been making a lot of noise in the Tampa Bay area. We're going to talk to him today. He is a comedian. He is a rapper. He is a community. I'd say he's becoming quite a community leader.
Okay,
he's an activist for the community with what he's doing. So we're going to talk to him about all that right now. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rio Paris.
All right.
How you doing,
Happy
man?
to be here. I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to have you on, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, so where do we start? I want to start with the beginning, because like I met you as you started comedy.
Yes.
And now, was that the very beginning, like when you first came into the improv, or were you already doing stuff?
So I viewed that as when I first started, like for real. The first time I did it was on my birthday, July 20th, 2011. Okay. And I bombed horribly. And I tried it for maybe like 3 more months and just kept bombing. So I'm like, let me give music another big push. So all of 2012, I was trying to go hard on music. Okay. And then January of 2013 is when I came to the improv. And then for I think 3 years, the mic was every week. And in 3 years, I maybe missed 3 mics total.
Yeah, you were there constantly.
Yeah.
You're always working on stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I wanted to get good at it. I saw you guys making people laugh, so I couldn't say it was the room. Even if I wanted to, it's the crowd tonight. And then you guys get on stage and kill. It's like, well, no, it's not the room. It's my jokes that I thought were going to be funny.
These guys were terrible till about 8:30.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's an easy math problem after a while. It's like, maybe I'm the common denominator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's awesome, man.
Yes.
Because I've seen you on open, and I know you tour and headline all over the place, but I've met you at literally maybe just a couple of open mics.
We met at Dunedin.
Right.
Brewery,
Dunedin Brewery. Divine Brewery in Palm Harbor. And I've seen him, or I've heard stories of you going a couple of hours like this, that you just go, which is not, now it's bad if someone is not funny.
Yeah.
But when I heard stories of you doing it, I go, I wish I would have paid money to go to that show or open mic to see you do that.
Oh, man.
But I mean, when I heard, no one ever had bad words about it. They said, Rio's going. He's like, he comes in, he's like our Dave Chappelle. He goes 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever he wants to do. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. So Poet at Pegasus is who would allow me to come into the old Pegasus location and do that amount of time at the mic. Like I would close it out. Sometimes I didn't. But he would still let me do a good amount of time. It would be an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours sometimes. And that's when I feel like I was seeing, it gave me an opportunity to see what jokes that maybe I didn't think people would laugh at, that they ended up laughing at. And I'm like, okay, so if I do want to go dark, they find this funny. Where before, at the improv or at a show, I would be more scared to say these things because I wasn't sure if they would get the laugh or not. And I was just trying to become a house comic and get booked on other shows for whoever might be in the audience. Hey man, I book shows at this place. So I wasn't that risky.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually probably the smarter move, though, because that's what you would be advised to do. Mm-hmm. It's like when you go into the bigger venues, you go into the showrooms, like the Improv, the Side Splitters.
Yes.
You're on the main stage. You're not trying to work stuff out when you're on a Friday, Saturday night show. You're there to do the show.
Yes.
You're there to perform.
Yes.
So you take advantages of those other venues. You mentioned Pegasus. For those who don't know, that's a venue here in the Tampa Bay area. It's a bar, is it nightclub too?
Yeah.
I mean well they just changed. They got a new venue, so
right.
it's even bigger, I think.
Yes.
So that's a place that had an ongoing. I think they might even still have it. I don't even know.
They do
They have
on Tuesdays.
Yeah. So that's one of those things. Yeah. So if you're in the Bay Area looking for a mic Tuesday night,
right?
That might be an option.
Yeah.
And so now you would work stuff out at those places. They'd let you go long.
Right.
I want to back up to when you were talking about doing the music.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, basically, you went back to your old girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because you felt comfortable. Now,
I'm back, baby.
Now,
did you miss me?
How long were you doing music before that? I mean, was that something you? Because I started out as a kid when doing music.
Yeah.
When I was little.
Right.
So I don't know if that's the same path for you. It was hip hop.
Hip hop. Got a karaoke machine for my birthday, and I would just do demos, and I had a keyboard that had factory made beats.
The Casio?
I had a Casio.
The what was the other one? I know. It started with a K, I think. The
Korg. Yeah. I think DJX, good beats on it, and I just would. I think when I was like 12.
Yeah.
And then I went on to do rap battles, some pretty big rap battles. Yeah. I did the Eminem Flew Me to Detroit for the 8 Mile DVD release party battle.
Nice.
So that was cool.
Very cool, yeah.
I won the Source magazine, which was like the biggest hip hop magazine at the time.
Source magazine, by the way, is a publication. It's made out of paper. It's printed stuff on it. And that was a big deal. Source was real big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the Source.
Which also was what was big at the time was And1.
Yeah.
Street basketball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They were on tour together at the time.
Oh, man.
So they would do the rap battle outside and see who was going to battle inside during halftime of the And1 game. Right?
Nice.
So it's like 5,000 people, and I won the rap battle.
Nice.
And I was supposed to then go to Miami for the finals, but things didn't quite work out because I didn't sign a contract with so I was also at the time doing a show called Hip Hop 411 TV, which was on the WB, kind of just across the region.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that worked for them also knew the host of the battle for the Source. And when I didn't sign the contract because they wanted to own my masters, I think they communicated with each other. It was like, hey, yeah, he's not gonna, don't put him on that anymore, kind of deal.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of rough.
So basically, so I get it now. So here's the story. Rio was getting laid with this sexy beast called hip hop. And then one day, she said, "Everything you own, I own."
Yeah.
And he said,
Yeah.
And she said, "You get no more of this."
Yep.
So he went away,
Yeah.
started doing a little side action, a little rebound with the comedy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You know what? I want another piece of that."
Yeah. Even though I was bombing.
These relationships are complicated.
Yeah.
So now, how much of that plays into like the comedy now? Because I know you still exercise those muscles.
Right.
You know, does that come out on stage every now and again? Stuff like that does for me.
Every now and then, I feel like some people say they like my stage presence. I feel like that came from rapping in front of people.
Same with me, yeah.
Right? So they kind of go hand in hand. I feel like a few things go hand in hand with music and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So stage presence, your ability to create. So if you're a writer, you're writing rap songs. Of course, comedy is different in terms of what your goal is for your audience, but just the ability to write and do stories. So some rappers are storytellers. I wasn't that much of a storyteller, but I can write a story.
Mm-hmm.
So that fuses into the comedy lane as well.
Now, for me, a lot of the hip hop, a lot of the rap and stuff, like early on, I'd go back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Way back.
Mm-hmm.
It always infused comedy. It's like you see it. I mean, it's extreme examples like Eminem. His stuff is filled with comedy. Snoop Dogg, same thing. A lot of rappers. So did that kind of pave the way as well? Because I mean, it was a lot easier writing stand up after I wrote rap, because it's like I already knew how to build a joke and make it rhyme.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
What's interesting, so I did freestyle battle raps. Now they have 3 written rounds that are like 3 minutes or more.
Yeah.
And now you know everything about the person because a family
Yeah,
member.
before it was just you step up.
Oh man!
You would just step up.
So
let me see what I got. Let me see what I'm working with.
And that's what I did it in a comedic way. I would roast the person while freestyle rapping. So I auditioned for Freestyle Friday on 106 in Park, which was like the biggest TV show at the time on BET at least. Okay. So I went to New York, me, my mom, my brother, slept outside at starting at 11 p.m. And we just slept outside in line. And then probably 8 o'clock the next morning is when they started getting everybody's information and all that. So I ended up being, fast forward. So I bowed to this girl, and here's the executive producer of the show at the table, just people that worked with 106 in Park. They're all at the table. I bowed to this girl, and I said something like, "Your flow whack, you look like Halle Berry when she made Baps," because she had the same hairstyle as Halle Berry and Baps. And they went crazy. And then after, the executive producer is like, "Yo, man, that was great, man. You like a comedian." And I would hear that when I was doing Hip Hop 401 TV. I had probably like 60 battles or something. And people would say, "You're like a comedian." But even then, it wasn't on my mind to actually do stand-up.
Yeah.
But the Freestyle Friday situation, I was 1 to 30 picked out of thousands.
Wow.
And another time that I thought it was about to happen, and the guy goes, I don't want to say his name, but he goes, so BET didn't pay for the flight or the hotel. And at that time, you didn't retire until you won 7 times. And this is on a weekly basis. So the fact that they weren't paying for the flight or the hotel, I'm like, hey, I don't have any family or friends out there, but let me see what I can do. And he's like, cool, you got your spot no matter what. for 3 months, I'm calling this dude. The voicemail is always full, no answer. And I finally talked to him, and he's like, hey, let me look at the calendar. I'll get back to you. Never did. So I got a lot of stories like that, which led to I have been so happy with stand-up, and now I feel like I'm mature enough where I understand life a little more, and now I just know those things weren't meant to happen. They are lessons that I've learned.
Yeah, experience.
And I'm good with that. I have no ill will or hatred towards anyone that, because at the end of the day, whether something is promised or not, they don't have to follow through with their promise. They don't have to fulfill it. They should.
Right.
But when it, right, because here I am, like, Mom, I'm getting your house soon. And
start looking around.
Right. It is like, oh, I'm sorry that I made you look for one, because it's not happening.
See, that stuff, when I hear that, though, it makes my blood boil. Like,
Yeah.
that's why partially I think some murder should be illegal. I mean that in a productive way, because stuff like that, because we've all been that way, where you're calling people back after, like,
right.
hey, you call me Monday at 8.
Yes.
You call Monday at 8. So-and-so is not here.
Yep.
Okay, leave a message, voicemail. Like you said, voicemails, or they don't call them back. You're like, God dang it.
Yeah.
I'd rather just have you do, and I tell venues this sometimes, you know, when I'm booking shows, I go,
yes.
Sometimes they're always like dragging the feet, and I'll just laugh and go, it's okay if you say no.
Yeah.
You just say no.
Yes.
And it's weird to me when I'm like, so you want to book? Oh, well, we got to talk to the owners and the board members. I go, board members? You're a bar.
Yeah.
In Pasco County, there's no board members.
Yeah, right.
Just say no.
They're talking about dartboards.
Right. But I'm like, just it's okay. But when people build you up and go, oh, no, call me, or I'll call you, man, we're going to make this work.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't happen. Oh, it just infuriates me.
Yeah.
I guess because I trust people too much. That's
one of those things, but that's the nature of this business.
Yes,
though.
true.
So it's one of those things where it's like, it's you hate when it happens. It's frustrating.
Yes.
And it's rude when people do it. But people do it.
They do it.
And it's like it's not going to change because they're moving at a million miles an hour the same way you are, except they're not always going in the same direction.
That's right.
So it's easier just to not make that call and go on with the next call.
Yes. And
just avoid the person, which is horrible. But in this business, you kind of let it go because you know what? There may be other opportunities with this same person in a different circumstance that may work out. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? It's like, okay, just let it go. This isn't how I want to end this conversation, but maybe the next one will follow through with a project and do something.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's one of those things. That's where the thick skin comes in.
That's why I'm appreciative of those things kind of collapsing, because I do feel like it gave me thicker skin. It prepared me for the industry that's being described, where you have so many that will make promises, and now it's like I can deal with it better. Because before I would put, like, I felt like it was a sure thing. So I put my entire life on this promise. Now it's like, okay, if it goes through, fantastic. If it doesn't, fine.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's like to believe it.
Yes.
Yeah. Which takes us to another point. Not only are you doing the comedy, and you're still doing music as well.
Yes.
But you've also been doing film stuff.
Yeah.
And here's stuff that you can talk about.
Yes.
Because they just released a film that you were in, right?
So the film, it's a comedy. It's called What the Hell. And it is, so King Cobra Enterprises and Gotcha Film Productions. And I play a character named Jamal. He's one of 4 cousins. And there's romance involved, but ultimately, it's a comedy that contains a whole lot of what the hell moments, and it did get picked up, fortunately, for a worldwide distribution deal.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you. So,
Awesome.
yeah, no, it's going to be on pretty much every streaming platform right now, except for Netflix or Hulu. But it should be on one of those before year end. But Tubi, Amazon Prime, Sling TV,
Roku or
Peacock, Roku, just literally every streaming platform that's the major ones outside of Netflix and Hulu. So, and we're gonna do a tour as well. Hopefully, like a 16-city tour starting in June.
Cool.
Hopefully, so hit different parts of Florida, and then we're going to be in Houston and Charlotte and Atlanta and DC.
So it's gonna be like a
Brooklyn
comedy tour to support the film.
for the film. Oh well, red carpet premieres in the city, and then maybe while I'm there, I do some stand up.
Okay.
But
cool.
it'll be doing radio and doing the red carpet premieres is mainly while we're there. It's all about the film.
Okay.
So if I can do stand up while I'm there.
And do they have a release date? They have a.
So starting in May, it'll start being more than likely like 3 streaming platforms at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
very cool.
I enjoyed it. The entire cast and crew is awesome. It really felt like family almost instantly, which is rare. So I love everyone from the cast to the crew, and we're gonna ride this thing out and see what else comes of it.
Man, now that's your first major like movie role, or have you been acting along with rapping and comedy?
I've done some acting.
Right, I've heard.
Did a cameo on my
Yes.
my little budget film.
No, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun little thing. But yeah, it was a little little low budget thing.
Listen,
But it looks good though.
There you go.
It looks good. Though.
And I enjoyed it. So
Yeah, you had a funny point. Yeah.
right, that's what for me. That's what it's all about. I just want to have fun. I want to get funnier. That's always the thing. Stand up is the priority.
Okay.
And film I love, and the more the merrier. But stand up is the art, where I feel like I can express myself artistically the most.
Okay.
And I like sharing my life and just thoughts about this world. And stand up has created a space for that, where even more so, like people need to laugh. I wasn't really thinking about that until somebody comes up to you, hey, I just lost so and so. I haven't been out in forever. You made my night. That type of thing. I wasn't even considering.
Yeah.
So you don't know who's in the audience.
Correct.
That needs to laugh.
Yeah.
And if you can bring that into their life, I think that's awesome.
It affect people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question about the comedy.
Yes.
I was asking people that we're talking to for new comics.
Okay.
What would be a couple of good tips for a new comic coming in?
Write all the time. Be on stage as much as possible. And if you sound like your influence, recognize that and try to get away from that as soon as possible.
Who did you sound like?
I don't think I sounded like anyone. I was told it was kind of Cat Williams-ish.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see
Maybe.
that, yeah.
Maybe like subject matter wise, but I don't think that I was on stage at any time that was doing this.
Well, that ain't gonna help you.
Right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I was. But
Cat Williams is funny though, man.
Funny.
Woo.
Funny.
I saw him live. I saw him at the Improv.
Ooh.
It was way back, yeah,
Wow,
man.
See, you're a Tampa legend in our scene that I've always respected. I saw Sloan, I saw Ron Hortman, Johnny B. Y'all are the comics that I aspire to get the laughs like y'all were getting. And y'all had already found your voice. So I saw that and I was like, okay, well, if I keep working at it, then hopefully I can get to that point, the comfortability in terms of your delivery. You feel more confident when you know the jokes work.
Yeah.
And I was overconfident for jokes that weren't working. Right?
Yeah, right.
So a lot of the time I'm like, well, that was so funny in my mind. But clearly, as people continue to stare and not laugh, I get it confused. So I feel like it's kind of like in sports, whoever the it people are for an aspiring star running back or whatever the case may be, Michael Jordan. So you come into the league and you want to, a lot of comics don't want to be the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Right? So that's fine. But for me, just through sports and other facets of my life, I am competitive. So if I'm not considered the greatest, I at least want to be in the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was my goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to just be, just some guy they call, hey, we fill a spot with this guy.
Right.
Right. I don't want to be that. I want to be. I want to be somebody that like people that takes notice of.
Yes.
It's like I might not be the best or be the greatest, but you're gonna know I'm on your ass.
There you go. Yeah.
You're gonna be worried.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a compliment for us as comics.
I'm the spot filler guy. I like
I
it.
fill spots. Got 5 minutes?
Yeah, I find you very funny, Pat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Funny looking.
If you can tell the audience that next
Still a
time.
bunch
it'd be
of
great.
Oh man, yeah. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah.
Now, now I know you're not discounting rap or music anymore. I mean, you're still doing it. I mean,
Still doing it.
So something pops out. So between that and comedy, and rap battles especially, it's kind of like improv comedy. You're out there and you just go for it. Boom.
Yeah.
So that's why I think acting is probably going to be your next biggest step. You're already doing it and successful at it, which is amazing because, all the great comics who become actors.
Right.
So with all your background, I mean, that's obviously the next step. Where do you see yourself, let's say, 10 years from now? What do you think Rio Paris is going to be doing?
I want to do things in the metaverse. I want to have a major impact on that, and I want to be known as one of the GOATs in stand-up.
Okay.
And I want to put out some classic albums. That's still a goal as well. I still write. I still freestyle. I make beats as well. So I just want to, ultimately, I want to be known as someone who changed music, comedy, and technology.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
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 That's not bad, man.
Well, now you did. You have something going on right now.
Yes.
Like, what is that? Is this like a showcase thing you got going, or is this like a new open mic thing? Or
It's a mic.
It's like a.
Okay. So what's attached to that? And that's another thing. I'm glad you asked that because, so with if you want to call it philanthropy, then one thing that I did, my heart has always gone out to kids because when I lived in North Carolina, I stayed next door to it's weird, but it's just life. So next door neighbor at that time was a husband and wife, and the mistress was in the house, and the mistress was addicted to crack. And her 3 children, all crack babies, but they were the 2 boys, their sister was the youngest. The 2 boys were like my best friends. And my grandma, I want to get into, put it this way. I grew up around crackheads, right? And in Tampa, and then in North Carolina, my next door neighbor, that situation. So I've seen so much poverty, and I've seen kids that their parents may have been doing well, and I always looked at that versus the kids that weren't doing well, the kids that wore the same clothes, the kids who didn't have lunch that day. I'm about to get emotional talking about it because now that I have children, I think about my daughter Harmony, she's 6, and then I have 2-year-old twins, Riker and Ariella, and I look at them and I just want to do my best by them because I've seen so many kids struggle.
Sure.
So what I ended up doing, I went to a foster care facility and we did ice cream. We had an ice cream social. And then I bought a arcade machine that has like 2,000 games for a foster home that has different kids. And I heard the stories that the couple that's there told me about, that why they're there.
Yeah.
And that made me want to cry. So I'm like, I'm going to do something for y'all. So now Stop the Violence, Start the Laughs. That's the name of hopefully what will be a great movement where kids that are just a part of the at-risk youth group want to do cookouts for them where they can come out and they can, if they want to tell a funny story, they can in front of people. Maybe they make people laugh and they say, wow, maybe I can do comedy.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to tell a funny story, if they just want to be around people who are inserting positivity into their life because they may be missing that, then at least they can receive that. So I want to try to raise as much money as possible to do these cookouts for them and just have it become a thing at different parks in Tampa Bay.
Okay.
So that's the idea with that.
And real quick, how can people get more info on that? A website or a social media or just something you're doing?
Reach out to me, Facebook, Rio Paris, RIO, Paris, PARAS, and then Instagram is Rio Paris Fans. And just send a friend request and then can Cash App, Tampa Change, or Venmo is also Tampa Change, capital T, capital C. And then that money will go towards the cook. And
big things next for you, my friend.
Ooh.
So I love it, man. Rio Paris, thank you so much, man, for being here on the Comedians Uncorked podcast.
Thank
Any
you,
last
both of you.
things? You're good?
No, I'm good. That was great.
That was great, man.
Yeah, thanks
So,
for hanging
thank
out,
you.
brother.
We'll
Thank
put
you
all
for
the
having
info links up there. Don't forget the new movie, What the Hell, which is going to be parts of it, or the movie's going to be coming out here and there starting in May and then throughout the year. And also Stop the Violence, Start the Laughs. We'll put the links on for that so you can get some money to him to make kids' lives a lot better here in the Tampa Bay area. For Tony Gaud, my name is Pat Largo. Thank you again for checking out the Comedians Uncorked podcast. Thank you, Julie Drolshagen of Century 21. Get us at our YouTube channel where we do stuff daily. We put different elements there. And, of course, our website, comediansuncorked.com. Again, for Tony, I'm Pat. Thank you so much for checking out the Comedians Uncorked podcast.